I actually forgotten how to reef properly. I didn't fasten the reef line good enough and this put too much tension on the reefing lanyards, which then became ripped out of the sail. So my mainsail was gifted with 2 big holes in it. Funny enough, I predicted this to be happening somewhen, but definitely not at my first trip already. Nevertheless, with the proper repair kit, also this thing was done in a short amount of time. I later remembered how the proper reefing procedure goes, but unfortunately too late for my sail. And finally, this thing can be used back again. We then start in Zeebrugge, Belgium and head down to Cherbourg in France. At the beginning this trip was no big deal, but at night you know the value of a solid education, because you really must know what you do then. And this red spot is in fact the moon, but only the observer can get in its magnitude and beauty. I guess this is made like that. So guys, you got to start your own trips.
Hello, this is day 2. I motored through out of the way because I need to gain distance, but no, I made it actually around the Cap behind Calais. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm astonished on how beautiful our nature is and how beautiful our planet is. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to make these experiences, because this is what I really, really want. Look by yourselves.
Also with this information, you as a viewer are not very likely to get the feeling someone can have on a trip like this. What I also have to take into account is that I ridiculed sailors who are motoring extensively in my past. And you only do this when you really feel the need for it, so when you got to gain distance, you really must motor, period. I still found a small leakage in my compartment, and with towels I was able to detect the corner where the water inches took place, checked the neighboring compartment and found out that there was the real reason for this mess. But also this story can actually only be resolved on the dry. If I only would have known in Zeebrugge already, but you see, that's it.
Today, on 13th of September, I finally detected the real reason for the still occurring water ingest.
Yep, nobody cares. Fix it and it's good.
I arrived this night at Cherbourg in France. This is my first time being in France. Interesting. And first thing I did was, of course, to register at the harbor. And I now got the internet. And the first, most important information for me is to get the weather. So the wave looks interesting. I would say it's partial dangerous if I do not start as soon as I can.
Which I did, because you must take advantage of every possibility you get in the weather windows, otherwise you might be stuck somewhere.
We are leaving the harbor of Cherbourg at 15th of September 2021. I must come back. Sometime I must come back and visit these people again. It's too sad that I'm so much in urge of my plans that I cannot visit these friendly people, hike and enjoy.
It's sad being so much in urge of my plans, but coming back is a sure thing.
We now determine the position. 40.01, 38.01, 40.01, 38.01. .01. 38.01. I must do this now single-handed, what's quite a challenge, but I want to show you how I make this. At this tip I am. I do not love it, because this tip is my position, and this line is where I should be according to my plans. So I will change my angle again, back again, some 10 degrees to correct this, to come to this spot, where I then finally head out into the channel back again. Hello, it's 8:39. We now approach the Isle du Essonne. After we have passed this isle, we're gonna tag and head towards Brest.
At the Ile du Essonne, in fact, I got set back through a current, so much so that I ended up at the end of the day behind the starting point at the beginning of this day. This was a very sobering moment, and yeah, respect the ocean, respect the currents, and stick to your plans. And the next day I had a moment of insight what I put on video, and I left this nearly uncut for you to enjoy.
Tonight, MON RêVE and I arrived at Brest in France. We had a quite rough ride around the corner of the Biscay, and it was like the Biscay would tell us, hello, nice, welcome. It was with rain and very hard currents, and I even got set back at a certain point, and I couldn't see this because we were also in a mist, in a kind of fog. So the Biscay is something very special and a tough area to sail, especially if you are not very experienced. But if you really want to get something going, you just have to stick to it, to go with it and to learn, so that you also adapt to this area, what is, as I said, very special. So, we now are in Brest, and from Zeebrugge to Brest it took us 5 days and nearly 5 nights. We made a small stop at Cherbourg to fill up with diesel, and yeah. Another very interesting experience is that if you have all the time this moving, this rolling, you know, this moving, rocky moving of the ship, then you find yourself in a new situation where the ship is solidly staying on one spot and not moving at all, and being nice. And having a breakfast in that conditions is extraordinarily beautiful. It's things what we guys take for granted. Having a breakfast, for instance. Just having a breakfast. And even having this breakfast with steady and silent conditions where everything is in order and everything is fine. You perceive it with a complete different view when you go a couple of days through issues like, I cannot sleep. I must always be on watch. Hey, let's knock on wood, no accidents happen, not for others, not for myself. And So you have a lack of sleep, you have very high stress in some situations, you must approach harbors, for instance, you have to be there all of the time. You have to prepare for this approach closely, you have to plan these approaches, to follow them through, because there are also military zones. These guys put up with very serious issues, as we all know, and so it's very wise to go as accurate as you can with these port approaches. I guess this is international, this is everywhere. Careful, careful, careful. So then you go through all these stress situations, and then you face us at the last day in the Biscaya very hot conditions. You got set back. This is quite something special. This was a special moment, and you find out the last half day I did not even nothing. I did reverse. That is tough. But then you follow it through, you go with it, you rev up the engine, and the engine now has an oil issue. Actually, it's losing oil. Yeah, my diesel is losing oil. I got to ask the specialist at Brest to support me, please, to support me on this issue, because there are 1 or 2 leakage points popping up at the engine since actually a couple of days, but it was stable. Now it gets worse, and I need specialists to look over that. I do not want to get my inexperienced fingers on that and maybe even break it, because technical aggregates like that are sensitive. Though it's a marine diesel, I do not want to break it. I do not want to make this thing bad. Maybe, or not maybe, but very, very likely in a couple of years I have enough experience to put my own hands on that and take care on it appropriately. But right now I want the support of specialists. So this is the first morning after my longest ride. This is the first morning after a cool ride. Zeebrugge to Brest. I enjoyed it though. It was tough, it was stressful. I knew it would be something like 7 days. Best 6 days and 6 nights. But we made it in 5 days and 5 nights. And this is only because I turned on the engine and let it run always. Nearly always. Only when we had very good winds, and then I turned it off. And the point is also, this is a very old engine. And my guessing is the pre-owners did not really rev it up. So I now revved it up and let it go through harder times. And this might put an extra stress on it, and I might have a couple of parts burn out. Ceilings, my guessing, gaskets, whatsoever. Let's see. Then when we know it, we're gonna see what's coming out of it, and I'll tell you guys. See ya.
I left this video intentionally so long that you can see what's really going on and you don't get maybe a wrong view, like postcard views, sailing, beer commercials, sailing, everything's beautiful and fun. No, it's not. So you get an appropriate picture, and that's what this is about.
Here you can see Brest in the upper section, and my approach path was actually in this channel. I went east. A military ship was waiting for me at this spot somewhere here, instructing me to go south, to head some maybe half a sea mile southwards and wait for further orders. The reason for this was a rescue operation ongoing on the open seas, and they wanted to keep the path clear because there must have been something very serious and urgent going on. So what I did was I followed this pattern. I started to go southeast. Then here I dropped anchor and thought I'd wait for further orders, but I was so much tired that I actually went to sleep. This is what happened. The approach of the harbor of Brest should be easy, as I simply go through the entrance here and follow through in one line. Then I follow this dotted line here and should be easily in the marina. There we even have the ability to load up the fuel again, and of course to check for the engine. That's very, very important. So, let's do it! So guys, here we go. That's it, the entrance of the harbor of Brest. The port we fought so hard for, roughly about 1 week.